Hello and namaste. This is your humble host, the incorrigible Mr. Zebo. Today, I just wanted to take a moment to share with you one of my core meditation practices. Broadcasting love energy. Sounds cheesy, I know. Sounds a bit ridiculous. It's exactly the kind of thing that haters say is useless and meaningless. But maybe haters say that because they're not getting enough love energy? That's a question mark. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I digress. I humbly invite you today in joining me in emanating love energy. You don't need to be of any religion to join. All faiths are welcome. All religions, people from all religious backgrounds are welcome, because is this not the core essence of every faith? The one thing every religion is supposed to have in common? That God came to us, took some human form, and asked us to love each other. So let's stop arguing about it and let's start actually doing it, even if we're not entirely sure what we're doing. Because I know that's the fear inside our heads. I know you've had that thought. I don't know how to do that. I can't just send love to people. It's not possible. Nonsense. The very cosmos is ready and waiting for each of us to turn our little light on, as the saying goes in that song. For those who doubt, let me run you through the real quick and simple explanation why I don't believe in this, why I feel confident enough to say that I know this is possible. And I invite you to consider it to see if it is something that you get to know as possible too. I'm not asking for your blind faith. I never have asked anyone for blind faith. But here we go. If we agree that physics is generally on the right track in describing the universe, or attempting to, and it's constantly redefining and upgrading its efforts, right? And if we agree that Einstein is one of the geniuses whose work sits at the core of the work that science is doing today, and if we go further to agree that we understand what E equals mc squared really means, and by that I suggest to you that the equal sign is a two-way street, which essentially leads us to understand or comprehend and come to terms with the idea that matter, no matter how solid it is, no matter how fleshy, no matter how concrete, no matter how bulletproof, it is energy. Because energy is matter. Matter must be energy. So if all things are energy, then so are our emotions and our feelings, etc., etc., etc. Our intent, our love. Now, what is energy? Energy is frequency. Our sounds, our mouths make our frequency. That's why we came up with all those chants millions of years ago. But we don't need the chants. We don't need the mantras. They're helpful, and many of them are indeed divinely inspired, in my opinion. But all we really need is focused intent and a little bit of imagination. It's such a tragedy to me that imagination is simultaneously belittled and set aside as a childish thing. Imagination is at the core of the purpose of life, in my humble opinion, because it connects us to that which is in potentiality. And there's a whole rabbit hole we can go down there, but let's get back to what the focus of today's episode is. However you feel most comfortable in participating, I welcome you now to sit, relax, lay down. If you're driving, stay focused, keep driving. Don't close your eyes if you're on the road, if you happen to be listening to this in your car. But if you can safely close your eyes, focus on your breath, and simply choose with every fiber of your being to broadcast love. I don't know how to do that. That's fine. Just imagine that you are a radio antenna. You are a human-shaped satellite omni-dish that broadcasts in all directions and in all dimensions at once. And visualize that however you want. Make that your intent, to fill your very being with so much radiant energy of love that it must flow out from you into the cosmos. If you want to visualize glitter and rainbows, unicorns or other sacred animals or spirits flying, whatever you want, just at the core of your focus, fill that space, that attention, with the word love, and visualize it emanating from you in all directions, in all dimensions. I am broadcasting love at you now. Sometimes I find that a little bit of music is helpful, so I'm going to go ahead and I hope I'm not breaking any rules here, and I hope that I'm not going to get sued by anybody, but I'm going to give my own totally unbiased, well, I guess it's biased, depends on how you measure bias, but it's totally genuine, it's totally unpaid for, unsolicited endorsement for both a meditation app that I like to use. And what is the name of this meditation app? Insight Timer. So thumbs up to that. If you want to join a community of meditators, this is an excellently designed and executed meditation app and community. It gets 5 stars from me in the App Store, and on my podcast, 2 thumbs up. But I digress. I also want to give a shout out to Rick Bader, who's a particular favorite of mine in the meditation app. He's a content provider. He creates music with the intent to transmit healing and Reiki energy. Check him out if you're into that. Rick Bader with a Y, Batyr. I'm going to play his track called Psychic Protection because it's lovely, and it's one where I always feel like when I use it specifically in this particular practice of broadcasting love, it just helps me feel boosted and energized, and it heightens my sense that I am successfully broadcasting love. Is that all me, myself, going crazy in my head? Maybe. Does it matter? Because we're talking about love, right? We're talking about unadulterated, unconditional, compassionate love. So let's clear our minds and set aside our troubles and remember that in broadcasting love, the very first step is to fill our own vessel We fill our own hearts full of our own love for ourselves. Where does that love come from? That's the mystery, folks. It comes from the divine source. So do not feel like you are going to be burdened or taxed or exhausted by this. You will step out of this refreshed and full of love. Because the first step always in this kind of practice, especially in my own, as I've kind of designed it for myself, is to fill the self, fill my own heart, my own body vessel, until it's brimming. Visualize that now as the music begins.